Nite by Michelle. Do you know how days and nights happen? Well, the Earth rotates while it orbits the sun, but when it's rotating, half of the Earth is facing the sun and having daytime, as the other half facing away from the sun has nighttime.
Moon phase is by McKenna B. There are 8 phases of the moon. It takes the moon about 29.5 days to completely cycle through the phases known as the lunar month. The phases of the moon are called new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, and waning crescent. The moon is 4.5 billion years old. As our Earth turns, we see part of our lit up moon.
Seasons and Years by Riley. We have our seasons by orbiting the sun and the tilt of the Earth. When it is winter in the northern hemisphere, the southern hemisphere is closest to the sun. The northern hemisphere is having summer when it is closest to the sun. The tilt of the Earth is what causes the seasons. It takes the Earth 365.4 days to orbit the sun.
Moon Phases by Paulo C. Did you know near the equator a crescent is a smiley face? There are 8 phases of the moon and the other phases are off of percentage. If the moon is getting bigger, the moon is waxing. If the moon seems to be getting smaller, the moon is waning. It takes 29.5 days for a full moon cycle. The moon reflects the sun's light at different angles. The shape of the moon depends on its position between the sun and Earth. If in the northern hemisphere the moon is lit on the right, the southern hemisphere sees the left lit up. The moon is always changing shape.
Seasons and Years by Gaia. Have you ever wondered why we have seasons and years? Well, we have seasons because the Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees in the south. That's when it's winter. When it's 23.5 degrees north, your days are longer. As the Earth revolves around the sun, our days become shorter. All of the seasons take 365 days and 24 hours to orbit the sun. In the North Pole, you can't see the sun because it's so far away. That's how seasons and years work.
Years and Seasons by Griffin. Earth is tilted at a 23.5 degree angle. When the Earth is tilted towards the sun, it is summer or spring. When tilted away, it is fall or winter. That is what causes seasons. The Earth's year is 365.25 days. So every 4 years we add an extra day to February, which is called leap year. So if you were born on leap year, you are pretty young.
Phases of the Moon by Riley. If you're wondering how the moon almost every night looks like it changes, here is some information about that. The changes of the moon are actually called phases, a different stage of the moon. Each phase is recognized by a name. First phase is the new moon. That moon is completely black. The second phase is the waxing crescent. It looks like a big C in the sky. The third phase is the first quarter. It looks like one half. The fourth phase is the waxing gibbous, almost a full moon. The fifth phase is the big bright full moon. The sixth phase is the waxing gibbous. The visible side of that phase is on the opposite side of the waxing gibbous. Fun fact, if you live near the equator, the crescent moon is sideways, so it looks like a big smile. Scientists are learning more and more about the moon every day, so we have so much to learn.
Order of the Planets by Ashley B. In our solar system, there are 9 planets that orbit the sun. Their names are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. A fun way to remember the order of the planets is my very eager mother just served us 9 pizzas. Mercury has the smallest orbit because it's the closest planet to the sun. Venus's god is the god of love and beauty. Earth is the only planet known to have life. Mars is called the red planet. Jupiter's red spot is actually a storm that picks up dust, making it look red. Saturn has 22 moons. Uranus takes 84 Earth years to orbit the Sun. Neptune is made of gas, rock, and ice. Pluto has the biggest orbit because it's the farthest planet from the Sun.
Moon phases by Jameson. Moon phases are the amount of moon seen from Earth lit by the sun. It changes each day. A complete cycle is 29.5 days long. A new moon is completely dark and cannot be seen from Earth. A waxing crescent is a sliver that is growing bigger. A first quarter is a half moon. A waxing gibbous is a three-quarter moon almost full. When the moon is full, it's called a full moon. A waxing gibbous has 2 inches before it's a full moon. A last quarter is not a full moon, but is close to being one. A waning crescent is a sliver, and that is some things about moon phases.
The Order of the Planets, written by Andrea Rosa. Have you ever heard of the very silly sentence, "My very eager mother just served us 9 pizzas"? Well, it stands for the Order of the Planets. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Since Pluto is no longer a planet, people have been making new silly sentences to fit. The planets are separated into gas planets and solid planets. The first 4 planets are rocky planets. The rest of the planets are gas planets. Listen to this. Mercury is the only planet with no moon, while Jupiter has 67 moons, and Venus spins backwards, so the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. One side of Mercury is burning hot and the other side is freezing cold. Saturn also has changing rings. This is the order of the planets.
Order of the Planets by Savannah. Did you know all of the planets? Earth is mostly water. The rest is land. Mars has rovers that explore it. They collect samples of rocks. Jupiter is mostly brown. Saturn has 3 rings around it. Uranus is different shades of blue. Neptune is also different shades of blue. Pluto is not considered a planet.
How we get our day and nights by Zach. The Earth takes 24 hours to spin around its axis. The sun shines highest at noon. When the Earth is facing away from the sun, it is night. When the Earth is facing towards the sun, it is day. Did you know that the Earth is moving, but you do not know it? The sun starts in the east and sets in the west. This is what causes day and night.
Seasons and years by Tomas. Seasons and years are caused by the tilt of the Earth rotating on its axis 23.5 degrees. The days are longer because it's summer and spring. Days are shorter because it's winter and fall. There are 365.25 days in a year. Every 4 years an extra day is added. There are 4 seasons a year.
Phases of the Moon by Louisa. The moon has different phases. It depends on where the moon is. When the moon is waxing, it is getting bigger and bigger. Waxing is when the moon is growing into a full moon. Waning is when the moon starts disappearing. Waning means it is working into a new moon. A new moon is when none of the moon is visible. We see the moon at different phases or angles depending on where the moon is. It takes 29.5 days for a new moon to fill back into a full moon. We see the moon because the sun reflects onto the moon. These are the phases of the moon.
Years by Brody C. Did you know what causes years? Well, it's pretty simple. A year is caused when the Earth fully orbits around the sun. That is what causes years. When you hear years, there seems to be a lot more. There is, like leap year. Leap year happens because a full year is 365 days plus a fourth. So we cut off the 4th days. In the 4th year, we add a day. If we did not keep the alignment, summer would actually start in January. Did you know a year is 8,765 hours, or 526,000 minutes? That's but at least 31.6 million seconds. This is a bit about years. Seasons. Did you know that seasons are caused by the Earth's tilt? Earth is tilted at a 23.5 degree angle. Can you believe that is the main reason we have seasons? When the North Pole points towards the sun, north of the tropics have summer.
During that time, the South Pole has winter. In between, we have spring and fall. After winter, we move and the sun appears to be rising. Then spring starts. In the poles, they always have summer and winter. This is because the tilt always keeps them facing the sun or directly away. Earth's orbit also causes seasons. There are no seasons near the equator because the sun is the same height. This is what causes seasons. There's much more to years than seasons.
The Reasons for the Seasons by Lauren. Have you ever wondered what made the seasons so beautiful? Well, let me tell you. The Earth's axis is on a tilt at 29.5 degrees. When it rotates on its axis, the Earth is near the sun at different times, causing the seasons. When the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, it is summer. When it is at half point, it is spring. When the northern hemisphere is away from the sun, it's winter. And when it's at half point, it is fall. That is how a season is caused. When a year is caused, the Earth has made a complete orbit. I hope the next time you think about a year or seasons, you think of this paragraph.
Days and Nights Science Research Project by Isabel. Have you ever wondered about our days and nights? Well, if you have, then keep reading to find out about these topics. How Earth spins on its axis affects day and night, sun rising and setting, and day length. How Earth spins on its axis affects day and night. Earth rotates on its axis to create day and night. The Earth spins slowly around the sun, and that is how a full day is created, which is 24 1/4 hours. Also, while Earth is spinning around, we don't feel anything because Earth spins carefully and slowly. Sun rising and setting. How the sun affects day and night is because when it's morning, the sun rises in the east. That creates morning. In the afternoon, the sun has moved to the south. When night comes, the sun sets in the west. When Earth moves in a complete orbit, it makes the sun move from east, south, and west. One more thing is about the day length, and it is that daylight hours are different from the northern and southern hemispheres. Those are some facts about our days and nights.
Order of the Planets by Tyler. In our solar system, we have 8 planets. In order, they go Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. All the planets orbit around the sun. Did you know that Pluto used to be a planet? Scientists are thinking about making it a planet again. I like the planets because they're good for people to study.
The Order of the Planets by Carson. There are 8 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Those are the order of the planets.
Did you know at night on Mercury it's 180 Celsius? Neptune's clouds are 214 Celsius. Saturn has 23 moons.
Order of the Planets by Derek P.
Mercury has no moons. Venus is the hottest planet. Earth is the only planet with life on it. Both Earth and Mars have south poles, north and south poles. Jupiter's great red spot is a big storm. Saturn has 53 moons. Uranus orbits on its side. Neptune has the strongest winds of any planet.
How We Get Our Days and Nights by Olivia W. Have you ever wondered how we get our days and nights? Well, it's simple. Have you ever heard of an axis? It means the Earth is tilted 25.5 degrees. The axis is an imaginary line that runs to the North and South Pole. Earth rotates on its axis. The side that is facing the sun is day. The side that is not facing the sun is night. That is how we get our days and nights. Seasons by Sierra. The seasons are caused by the rotating spinning of the Earth. The Earth is tilted at a 23.5-degree angle. As the Earth spins, different places on Earth receive different amounts of sunlight. When the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, it is having summer. The rays of the sun strike at a more direct angle, which causes the rays to be more concentrated. This is what causes higher temperatures. The rays of the sun are also striking at a high angle. This causes maximum sunlight. During summer, the days are longer and the sun seems higher in the sky. During this time, the southern hemisphere is having winter. Then the Earth rotates and the northern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun. This causes winter in the northern hemisphere and summer in the southern hemisphere. When the Earth tilts away, the rays of the sun have a low angle and minimum sunlight is produced. The sunlight is less direct and more spread out. Less energy is in one place, and this causes lower temperatures. In the winter, we have less than 24 hours of daylight. The start of winter and summer is when the Earth is tilted farthest away or towards the sun. When the Earth is tilted between these points, we have autumn and spring. Year by Sierra. A year is the time it takes a planet to orbit the sun. Earth's year is 365.25 days. Every planet's year is different because they have different distances from the sun. A calendar year is 365 days, but it takes Earth 365.25 days to orbit the sun. So, to make up for the extra 0.25, we add an extra day in February every 4 years. We call this a leap year. That is what we call a year.
How We Get Day and Night by Freya. You may have thought the sun moves around the Earth to make day and night. Well, that's not true. What really happens is that Earth spins to make day and night. When the sun faces one side of Earth, it is day. The other side of Earth that is facing away from the sun is night. Earth rotates in a circle. It takes 24 hours for Earth to spin around once, which is a day, turning into night. The Earth travels around the sun in a elliptical orbit around the sun. The axis is an imaginary line passing through the North Pole and South Pole. The Earth is tilted. This is what makes day and night.
Seasons by Gavin L. Look at the globe. There is an equator, the line around the middle of the Earth. The top of the world above the equator is the northern hemisphere. The bottom of the world below the equator is the southern hemisphere. When the North Pole is tipped to the sun, it is summer for the people in the northern hemisphere. When the North Pole is tipped from the sun, it is winter in the northern hemisphere. Years. Earth spins around its axis every 24 hours. This creates day and night. Earth also spins around the sun every 365 days. This creates a year. The solar system revolves around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Earth takes 365.25 days to go around the sun. Our calendar is 365 days. To fix this, we put on extra days and years called leap years.
Moon phases by one. The 8 phases of the moon are the new moon, waxing, crescent moon, first quarter moon, gibbous moon, waxing, full moon, waning, gibbous moon, last quarter moon, waning, crescent, new moon. As the moon orbits the Earth, the amount of light we see changes.
Moon phases by Josiah. This moon phase is named after the position on the moon rotation around the Earth. We see it as half lit. The moon is waxed between the first quarter moon and the full moon. Moon has rotated halfway around the Earth.
Moon phases origina. Moon phases are new moon, crescent moon, quarter moon, gibbous moon, crescent moon, gibbous moon, quarter moon,
Cubist moon is a moon